Alright, what's going on, guys? Lightspeed Automotive at it again with the GTI. Today we are working on a SF intake from COBB. So as you can see, we already have most of it out of the car. The removal is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to be using a T20 screwdriver there to remove all the airbox bolts, and then back behind here there's going to be a hose clamp with a screwdriver. What I found, a little tip for you, get you a long screwdriver like so, and you're going to want to reach in back between here to get to it. So back behind your injectors back there. That's just the easiest way, or you can use a 7mm socket. What we're doing right now is we're piecing together the COBB intake to do a reinstall. So a few things you want to note is they send you some weather stripping here. You're going to need 2 pieces about 4 inches in length and 1 piece about 12 inches in length for this hole, and then 2 small ones for the bottom holes for your mounts. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put the weather stripping on these holes for you, and we'll get back to you. Okay guys, once again, once you have all of your old airbox components out of the vehicle, first step, we're going to be cutting the provided weather stripping here and fitting it into each of the bigger openings, as you can see, as well as on the lip. This is where the one tube in the front will sit. So with that, the next step is going to be placing the upper plenum to the vehicle. And how they have you do that, pretty simple. Slide it in, move the tube, and you want the 2 holes that are here and here to meet up with the screw hole for the bolts that they provide. Then once you get that going, you'll take your front top plate, slide it in there, line up the screw holes with the holes provided on top. Like so. So there's a little lip for the top plate here that the top plate is going to sit in, and once you get that in there, it'll basically feel like it pops into place. Then you'll bring 3 of your screws for the top plate to screw it to the bottom plate. And that is a hex head. Do I have a small enough one? Nope. Alright, well, the kit they provide you with comes with a Allen key. If you don't have one, that'll fit these bits. But once you get in there, you can go ahead, tighten each one of them down. So. You're not going to be reusing any of the old hardware from the stock kit, so don't worry about saving any of that, but you can always keep them for future use if you happen to lose a Torx bit or a Torx screw, because you know what, we always lose screws every once in a while. Alright, once you get those screwed into place, you're going to use 2 more same provided screws and washers, and those will go in the upper 2 corners. You might have to hold it in place while you line it up, but they should be lined up pretty good. And yep, don't drop them. Of course. So this screw is not long enough. So what you gotta do is hold it. You gotta hold up the bottom plenum here against the top so the screw will tighten up into place. Otherwise it won't reach and you'll be spinning the screw. So once you get that one in, do the other side. Again, you're going to have to apply some pressure on the bottom side of the front plenum, but once you get it in there, it's nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. Alright, I'm going to get the next step set up and then I'll bring you back. Okay guys, back at it. So once you get all of your upper plenum bolted down, you get your input pipe hooked up, you gotta make sure you're, so I don't know if you guys can see that, but down in there, see my light's at, you're gonna have a fitting that goes on the inlet tube. You're gonna put both fittings in there. The Golf R is gonna have a plug. Pretty sure I showed you guys that earlier. Back here, you're gonna hook up the tube to the turbo inlet and make sure you can reach your screw for the hose clamp. And once you get that on there, so it's kind of a pain in the butt because you also have a velocity stack that you have to bolt down into the bottom of here. So next to that clip right there, there is a bolt hole that you got to bolt down the velocity stack, which holds the piece that you put your filter actually on. So you have this piece right here, gets bolted to the velocity stack, and in order to do that, you can't really do it on camera, so I had to cut that out and do it just off camera. But once you get that in there, it's a hex head bolt, which I'm trying to get it there. So yep, you can kind of see it right there. You'll tighten that down to the actual piece that holds the filter, and then once you get that bolted in, you can put the tube into the hole here, into that. Make sure you have your hose clamp on there, tighten the hose clamp down, put your filter on, tighten the filter down, and then we're going to be on to the next step, which is going to be getting your upper plate here going into there. So basically, you use the provided hardware, and again, you're going to have to come in here, cut more of your weather stripping. So you're going to cut that to size, fit that on, and you're going to come and get your screws, plastic washers here. Once you get all these set up, we'll screw on the top plate, and I'll cut to that here for you. Don't forget to tighten down both of your side bolts. One there, one there. Those are 10 millimeter. Don't leave any extra laying around. So, all right, I'm gonna get to that, and I'll get back to you and show you the finished product, and we'll start her up. All right, we're back. So once you get your piece cut, one thing you're gonna want to do is tighten each 4 of these bolts 10 millimeter down. Now you might have to play with them a while. Don't tighten them one down before you get all the rest set. So basically, because they have a little play, you want to make sure they all sit properly. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to screw one of them in. All right. So now we have everything else set. You got your tube in here with the weather stripping. Everything is tight inside there. And get your top plate. Line up each hole. You're going to take your provided Allen key, unless you have a set already. I do not have a screwdriver this small with an Allen key, but we'll get there. Line the holes up and tighten them all down. So each one is going to have one of those black washers on it. Again, don't over tighten these, and don't tighten them so much that you can't move the plate, because you might have to adjust it just a little bit to get the holes to line up. But like this one, the hole is a little bit backwards, so you gotta kind of, once you get the top plate tightened a little bit, you might be able to line up the rest of them, which they all look pretty good. So this install has been pretty easy, besides that velocity stack part, getting that lined up with the inlet hose and everything else with the 5 millimeter hex bolts that they provide to tighten the velocity stack to the bracket. So that part was a little difficult, but it is doable off camera. I was able to get it tightened down and bolted to the bracket. Alright, once you get all these started, go ahead and make sure it's tight. So the weather stripping is going to sit on there. And there's not really a torque spec for these, so you just kind of go by feel. You don't want to strip out the threads on the inside. Don't let bugs crawl in it. but you want it to be tight enough to where you got a seal, which it's just metal to metal, so as tight as you can get is fine. Just keep walking around. And there you have it. That is a bolted up finished product. Once we get the engine plate back on, engine cover, let's go ahead, tighten that down, get the keys here, and we'll do the first startup. All right, let the door open. There we go. I don't know if you can hear that. There you go. A little more noise. We will be doing the intercooler as well here shortly, as well as the exhaust and downpipe. So with that, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more episodes on the GTI. Lightspeed Automotive out.